Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I'm your host for today, Michelle Dawes-Burt. We are tickled pink. Why are we tickled? We're tickled.
I know.
Happy. We're happy. It's happiness. I think what it is my guests love my opening song.
Yes.
Celebrate
So much.
Myself by Don Tallman on Honeycomb Music Records. Thank you, Josh Milan, giving me permission to use it. And so it just makes the guests feel a certain way. So we start dancing before before we do the show. But welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I want to greet our new listeners and give you a little background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about the empowerment of women. And we do it through various different ways and platforms and vehicles. And this is one of them, but I'll save that for last. We do it through community service and public speaking. We do it through mentoring. We are so much into the community. We love to do events, and we're going to talk about an event I got coming up next month. Right. Yeah. And we do it through this platform, which is the arts, which is media. Yes. And I've taken a love for this. Next month will be 3 years of me doing this. And so I'm very excited about it. But this is a platform that we use to talk about issues that impact us as women. Yes. And then we have a softer side where we have maybe some artists and things that I like and I admire that are doing legendary things. So this platform has been this. So welcome. Thanks for joining. For you guys, we ask right off the cuff, share the program, like it, subscribe, just get the word out because we think that today's conversation is going to be interesting. I have two beautiful
dances on it. We're not chiming.
Every little thing, we're going to dance the whole time. I have two beautiful women here today, and I admire them because they express themselves through dance. And so today's topic and conversation is all about the rhythm. We're going to talk about how we express ourselves through dance and the rhythm within. So with my guests, Anana Harris-Paris, Tambra Harris, welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome. Speakers, you got to get in the mic because you guys are all soft-spoken and everything. So make sure we speak directly into the mic.
Okay.
So thank you and welcome. Welcome. So I'm going to start with Tambra. Tambra, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I am Tambra Omiale Harris.
Yes.
I am an educator. I am a director. I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a drummer, a lover, a sister, a friend.
Ooh, talk about it. It's all in this studio right now.
So I have the pleasure of being the artistic director of Giwa and Mata. And Giwa and Mata is an all-sister dance, percussion, and vocal ensemble. We specialize in songs and dances and rhythms of the African diaspora. So where African people have journeyed and have spread out throughout the world, we are celebrating them and us through music, through song, through dance, and through culture. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely part of my life. And then on the flip side, I am also, well, actually I dance all the time. It's a beautiful thing. But the other part of my dance life is that I am starting a new dance program at Price Middle School. Middle school, y'all send me a lot of energy, middle school. So yes, Price Middle School in Atlanta after 13 years of dance programming at Drew Charter School in East Atlanta. So I'm loving my work with young people, embracing social and emotional learning through movement and incorporating project-based learning as well as interdisciplinary programming.
Yeah, I've seen you move. I've seen you do moves outside of African dance. I said, oh, she's hip. She knows exactly where it is.
Wonderful. That's what I'm also bringing to our students, and it's very, very healing.
Nice. Nice body of work. You, sugar plum dumpling, you tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Always.
Let me just say, every time I come, you are still just as beautiful and radiant, that you represent melanin every time
doesn't
so
she?
well. I think you're aging in reverse. There's Benjamin Button action going on here.
Tell the people, Anana.
You gotta tell the truth.
Yes, thank you.
But, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Anana Johari Harris-Paris. And I'm also an alumni of Giwa and Mata. So once you're in, you're stuck.
Always a Giwa.
Always family.
Giwa.
I have quite a history in dance, but currently I'm also the founder of the Sister Care Alliance.
Yes.
And we promote self-care as a form of social justice and social justice as a form of self-care. And of course, dance, music, and the arts is a really powerful form of self-care. I'm the founder of the Self-Care Agency, and so we promote promote self-care tools and products and services as a way to empower everybody, men,
Yes.
women, everybody.
Nice.
I'm also the Director of Operations and Community Affairs for the Davis Bozeman Law Firm,
Mm-hmm.
where the social justice aspect of my passion gets to really be expressed in connection with so many other community organizations
Right,
where
right.
we fight for the civil and human rights of those that end up, unfortunately, at our firm's doorstep.
Yeah,
But dance-wise, I started off my serious and professional dance career with Kadiatu Kanti, Balafone West African Dance Ensemble in Washington, D.C. So I
nice.
learned more traditional West African dancing. And then when I moved to Atlanta, I danced with a couple different dance organizations, and then of course got lucky enough to be invited. I think it was a dance-off.
I think so. It was our dance-a-thon.
Let me tell you, it was a dance-a-thon. I was getting over a breakup at the time, and I said, they losing today. Because I'm about to dance. You remember?
Yeah, she danced all night.
I danced, I don't know how many hours.
Like 6 hours.
Straight. I was like, bathroom break. They were like, you going to the bathroom? No, I got to get this out. I got to get this out. And that's how I was introduced to the organization Giwa Mata. And it was beautiful. I think I learned over 30 different choreographies. I learned several different dance forms, and it really expanded my knowledge and dance base of
Yes.
different types of dance.
Sure.
So I also founded Afri Salsa Cultural Organization.
Yes.
And Afri Salsa, we promote, of course, the culture and the arts as a form of self-care. And we pay attention to what connects us rather than what separates us through dance and music. So I do teach salsa, and I also combine self-care strategies with salsa. So salsa building intimacy with couples and
Nice.
private
Say that
sessions.
again. Yes.
Yeah, trust building, those types of things. I love it. And so the choreography side includes West African, Caribbean, and then specifically salsa dancing all together.
There's so much to say in what you ladies said in your introductions. I'm going to say this. I'm a dancer.
Yes,
Yes.
you
I'm not a trained dancer.
Okay,
But you are.
I love to dance. My goal when I was a little girl was to get on Soul Train.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how much I was a dancer and wanted to dance and dance like the cultural music, the cultural dances. And so I never was professionally trained, never did ballet, or I never did African. Always admired it. But I do know that dance is truly a form of expression.
Sure. Yeah.
And I've incorporated it and commanded it to be a part of my self-care in the sense that if I don't listen to music,
Yeah.
if I don't dance, if I don't move, then I'm not Michelle.
Sure.
I'm not Michelle.
Yeah.
So it's a part of the package. So pay attention.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So if you, you just know that I'm going to be dancing and music is a part of the culture. When did you ladies discover or realize the beauty of dance? Did it happen for you when you were young?
So I had an interesting journey into dance. I've always danced.
Okay.
I've just
Okay.
always danced. I was the girl that was dancing in the bedroom with the cousins and the
Exactly.
older cousins and the big sister friends.
Yeah.
So I always joke with my cousins, and I tell them that they were my first teachers. I learned French. I learned how to play the violin. I learned how to play flute. I learned how to dance
Right.
in my bedroom playing school. We would play school all the time, and I would learn all the stuff that my big cousins learned at school, right? And they were a part of dance classes. So I would learn things there, but I literally didn't start training as a dancer until I was in high school. So I was in 10th grade and quite intimidated by the fact that I was starting so late, because girls usually start at like 5 years old, and
Right.
Yeah.
you know, they're matriculating through ballet schools and learning how to turn 5 times and stop on a dime. And I didn't know how to do those things. I just loved dancing. So I was the one that could cut a rug at every school dance, right? I danced throughout high school, and I enrolled in the dance program when I got out here. I attended Clark Atlanta University, but I took my dance classes at Spelman. But still, it didn't dawn on me that I was going to become a dancer, right? That I was going to be a dancer. I always knew that it was healing for me, absolutely healing for me. And my mother, you know, even though she wasn't in the arts world in that way, she hit me to dance movement therapy and said that I should do that. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I should, right? But I didn't pursue that in particular, right? And so I kind of had a journey that was that had dance as a central focus in terms of my activity, but I didn't go to school to major in dance. I didn't know that I wanted to be a professional dancer. I just didn't understand it in that way. I didn't really understand dance as an option for me for a lifestyle, right? I knew that it was something that I had to do and that it was something that I was going to do, but I didn't really understand it to be an option for me for a career and for a lifestyle. But literally, it was like maybe 10 years into it, I was like, oh, I'm a dancer. This is what I do. This is all that I do. This is what I do all the time. So it was an interesting journey, definitely an interesting journey, but I can say all throughout everything, throughout my childhood, throughout my teenage years, throughout my college years, dance was consistent, very, very consistent. And people would ask me if I was taking dance classes before I ever took dance classes. So I would say that it's just always been an inherent part of who I am.
Okay. You, Anana, when did you discover the beauty of dance?
I think shout out to the cousins because I think my first vision of the power of dance was through my mother. She was in a West African dance troupe in Washington, D.C., where we went to a Pan-African school, Watoto Shule. And I remember things not always being great through the journey of just being a young Black family and the things that we had to encounter. But I remember that all dissipating every time I saw my mother dance.
Wow.
And just the joy and the lightheartedness that was on her face. My parents were involved in Southern University's activist activity. They were some of the leaders of a lot of the student actions that went down that were fairly violent. And so they also came from small towns in Louisiana that had, you know, poverty and a lot of struggle. But when we ended up in Washington, D.C., my father was at Howard, we were at Watoto Shule. My mom, when she danced, there was nothing but that beauty and the celebration of who we were, and who we are. And then I just saw the connection between what we were being taught about who we were. And it was so wonderful. So fast forward to the cousins, my cousin Trisha and I, 3 days apart, Geminis, shout out. We used to make up dances before going to the church hall dances. And back then, you know, being dark skinned was not cute. And I still have anxiety. Even when I speak, I still have a lot of overall. Oh, yeah. I have to work through all of those. Even I perform, every performance, where's Anana? She's coming. If you remember Tambra. But when I get on the stage, it just comes over me like every other dancer. And I just had to learn how to enjoy that experience. So from my mom to those church hall dances, to surrounding myself with other dancers, primarily sister friends, and the brothers in salsa that are very supportive and encouraging. But just surrounding myself with people who allowed me to have anxiety but still dance anyway, because it brought so much to me.
Man, there is a connection there. I want to talk about it. You segued a little bit, Anana, when you were just sharing. There's a direct connection with dance and our people culturally. Expound on that just a little bit more. I know you said you saw how your mom just kind of cultivated the two. Just give me a little bit more of that.
Well, there's one thing to tell me that we're great, to tell me that we, as a young child, that's, you know, my parents were serious about putting who we are as Black people, as people of African descent, in our faces when it wasn't cool, okay? Because it was not cool in the 70s and 80s to have an African name. That was not fresh. So they would put stuff in our faces that would say, this is who you are. But when the music came on, and when you saw something greater than all of us in the room just kind of rise to the occasion, you know, our backs got straighter. You know, whatever that seemed to command us, it didn't command us anymore. The only thing that was there was how lifted and in sync we all were, just like when we all rocked. You know, and that is an ancient and futuristic kind of divinity about who we are as Black people, and how we rise above some of the worst conditions. So I see that as a part of the DNA of who we are. And when we are disconnected from music and dance and others that celebrate music and dance, then you can see it. We begin to shrink. We begin to feel less than who we are. And for that, we all fight to find our way back to each other through music and dance. And so,
Tamara, you agree? What is your
Yeah,
feelings
I
on it?
absolutely agree. I remember, this is a slightly random kind of analogy. I remember being in a rehearsal one day and there was some drumming going on, and someone had a water bottle sitting on the floor next to their chair. The water bottle was empty. The drum is going on and the water bottle is moving. It's literally moving like inches, right? And I was like, oh, we can't help it.
exactly.
Like our bodies can't help
Exactly. Forget it.
it. We literally can't
Oh my
help but to
God.
move. So the vibrations,
Yeah.
watching the vibrations move this water
my
bottle,
gosh.
you know, by inches,
That is
right?
beautiful analogy.
And
Isn't that great?
yeah, and we feel it every time our song comes on, right?
Yes.
Or like every time, you know, you may get to an event and you hear the drums out of nowhere, and then something is just driving you. We have people that ask us all the time, well, don't you get tired when you're dancing? But
feel
it's
it.
so like, they are one. The music and the dance are one. And that oneness, right? That unification
Yeah.
of dance and music, that unification of rhythm and body, and being able to embody something that you can't even see, right? Like that is such a powerful thing. And just to think that our ancestors always had it. Like we just always had it. It was an inherent part of our culture. It was a part of everyday life. People would sing when they would be washing clothes, when they would be cooking, dancing when they would be, you know what I mean, tending in whatever fields and farms that they had. And I'm not talking about how we existed during our period of enslavement. I'm talking about even prior to that. Like dance and cult and music are just inherent to who we are as melanated people. And that in and of itself is really powerful. And then when you think about the fact that there was an attempt to extract that from us,
Exactly. I was
but
just
that
about
we
to say that.
preserved it anyway because it's just a part of who we are. Okay,
Right.
so we can't have any instruments. Okay, I'm gonna use my hands.
Exactly.
I'm gonna stomp my feet.
Exactly.
I'm gonna slap my legs, right? Oh, you don't want me to really get down and bend my knees? Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna create the cakewalk and imitate what y'all look like dancing
Exactly.
and turn it into something fabulous and
Exactly.
amazing. So it is just who we are. It's just who we are.
And it's a beautiful, I just want to interject, it's a beautiful way to identify where oppression strikes, right? Because if from our core this comes out and we see the impact of it, just imagine what it is to not be of our culture and
Right.
see it,
Right.
right? So that's why you have the abolition of dance and music in this country, right, during slavery. And you have the abolition of playing drums.
Yeah.
Right, except for in Congo Square,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so when you see the amount of energy that's put into diluting,
Sure.
renaming, erasing, and completely abolishing that which really rises us to our greatness,
Right.
you have to start thinking when you walk in a room and you hear your song, you have to start seeing that as a form of freedom. Right? I talk about emotional slavery and how literally feeling like you can't do something
Sure.
is the success of slavery.
Right.
It's the success of historical slavery.
Right.
So when you hear those drums and that song and you're moving like that water bottle because we're
Yeah.
made up mostly of water.
Yes, yes.
When you're fighting against that, you're fighting against nature.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they
There-
can't win.
They can't win. There is there's definitely a spirituality tied to, because I've seen both of you ladies dance. Tamara really recent at the Christmas for the event that you
At the
Yeah,
Auburn
Shine.
Avenue.
yes. Very powerful.
Oh, yes.
Very powerful. Dance is so powerful. Just like music, it has no respecter of color or situation or economic status or health status or anything like
Sure.
that. It's just I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it because when you ladies dance, people feel your freedom. You move like the wind. You know what I mean? You move, and people just want to just be a part of that.
Yes.
It you do, and it's a light. Like there's a light. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Tamara's just glowing. I can't even. I can't even look at it too much without my
thank you,
glass,
sis.
without some shades on, because it's an inward thing. So I really want to touch on the spirituality of it, without being religious per se, but we are a people, right? And so every time you dance, is it ushering in our culture even more, our spirituality more?
So you know what's interesting? We have a friend, Lorraine McCall, and she whispered to me during a dance class recently, think of yourself as God when you dance.
See there? See? You see?
Think of yourself, right? And I feel that thing when I am in motion, when I am in movement. There are particular deities and orisha who are great dancers, that are known to be great dancers. And so there is a connection between movement and spirituality.
Yes.
And even if you think about a dancer as almost like an illusion artist, like we create illusions and we're literally shifting energy in a space. You can't see the energy, you just know that something is changing. You know, you think about people that mime and people that do puppeteering and that kind of like physical movement and dance, right? And they're literally telling you a story, but quite often there aren't any words,
Right.
Yeah.
but they're making
Exactly.
you believe in a concept. They're making you believe a thing because they're literally shifting energy around in a space. When I dance, I know that that's what's happening.
Okay.
I don't know that everyone that dances knows that that's what's happening for them, but I'm very conscious of it. I'm conscious of the way people's facial expressions look, the way that their bodies are responding to me, and the way that their spirits are opening up as a result of whatever is going on, whether it's me dancing or the person next to me dancing. So that is just dance and spirit in a kind of open-ended sense. The other aspect of it is that our people dance for spiritual purposes, literally for ritual, right? For to celebrate this particular ritual or to celebrate this particular rite of passage or this particular journey. There are particular dances that go with different aspects of who we are as spiritual beings. And one of the captivating aspects of West African dance and African dance in general is that you see that there's something else behind this other than just the dance and just the music. Like this dancing means something. And you see our people beginning to adopt that again into our church services where people are dancing more through liturgical dance and movement. I remember feeling when I was in high school, feeling like there was a part of my worship practice that was being cut off because dancing wasn't in style in churches in 1992.
No.
You know what I mean? That was not in style. So I remember feeling, I wonder how comfortable I can be as I grow as a dancer in this environment where I can't worship through my body, you know? And I remember pushing back from that and looking for spaces where I could incorporate my movement into my worship practice. And I'm grateful that I was able to find that. And I'm really grateful that Black people in general are coming back around to that space where we recognize that movement, not only music, because we've been using music, but movement in more elaborate senses is really, really critical and crucial to our spiritual development and expression.
Awesome.
Yeah. I definitely can't add to that because I think that's exactly the point. And I'm going to layer on top of it the notion of partner dancing and the unspoken and this invisible connection that you have with another person when you are, say, salsa dancing. So I have this activity that I do with a salsa partner where I blindfold myself and I show the beauty of leading and following. When you just can't see anything, you're forced to break down every other extra layer of worry, of concern, and you have to just rest in the spiritual side of the music that will connect you with your partner. And it is an unmistakable experience. It's something that shows you that there's an essence about you, whether you call it spirit or whatever, that is connected to so many more people. It's connected to so many more things than what you could even imagine. And that's the beauty of dance, and the juxtaposition of dance and spirituality, is that depending on the environment, the teacher, and the people dancing next to you, you cannot do anything but submit to what is spiritual about it. You may not be able to verbalize it, especially when you're salsa dancing. You could literally just dance with anyone for the first time. And you just connect. They could be much older than you. They could be a younger person. It's just this really beautiful experience that reminds us that we are connected, because that's one of the beautiful grounding experiences of spirituality, is that the connection.
Yes.
You know, this society is so isolating.
Yeah.
Right.
And we almost have to teach people with the advent, and it's wonderful, but with the advent of social media and this kind of technological disconnection, you almost have to teach people how to ask someone to dance. You have to teach people how to even want to leave the house again. You know, isolationism is becoming so popularized. You've got virtual reality worlds. You've got all of these things that are not really challenging us to really kind of look at someone and, you know, that is so intimate and beautiful and safe. You know, with Afri Salsa, I launched in 2004. And in tandem, I launched the Afri Salsa Fights HIV/AIDS campaign. Where we would teach basic salsa steps, and we would have regular socials. And at the socials, we also had information about safe activity, right? But when you're dancing, you're able to be touched in a safe way. You're able to interact and connect in a safe way. It puts no one at risk, but you still feel fulfilled. So when you commodify dance and music, of course you want to survive in this capitalistic society, but when you commodify it only and you don't pay attention to what you promote and what Tambra is talking about, which is the spiritual side of dance, then you miss out on so much healing. So I just encourage people to not only see it individually, but also see it through the social dancing side of how you can connect, and then also in partner dancing.
It is all of those things. I do feel a spirituality to watch you dance, to watch other people who dance African dance. You just feel an ancestral thing. You feel a connection to your heritage. You feel how powerful and how beautiful you are, especially as women. Especially as women. And the dances that you ladies do, no respecter of size. All is welcome. And women are getting it because they're taking it, their mind is going with the drum, and it's going with the movement of their body, and they're comfortable in their skin. And they're just getting free in every aspect of that, and that's beautiful in that regard. And then on you, on your side, it is dance for me in this regard is very intimate. Even when you dance by yourself, it's a very intimate and personable thing. So much so that when some people come and touch you, and it almost interrupts because you were not present, if that makes sense. You're not present. It's something about the energy, the vibe of the music, and you just feeling safe to let yourself go in that moment, and you're gone. And whenever you feel like you want to come back, you come back. But it's a very safe space. Your imagination goes. Mine does. Let me speak. I don't know about nobody else.
Mine does.
The imagination goes. It is a very, for me, very sexual thing. It's it builds confidence, because in that space, it doesn't matter what I look like, or it doesn't matter. It's just me connecting with the music.
Because there's something that's naturally in all of us, and I wanted to make that point in terms of West African dance. West African dance, the traditional movements are not you break this hip, break that hip over time, shape your body to respond a certain way, and then you move. You know, West African traditional dance across the board is based off of natural movements that your body naturally does. Even things that you naturally want to do, you know, it comes from the inside out. And so then there's framing around it. There's choreography around these natural moves that just naturally come out of you. And if you are a grown woman,
I'm a
There are grown woman. Then you're going to, express yourself.
Yes.
And there should be a safe environment for you
Sure.
to
do
breathe
that.
and move. Yeah, in that way. Absolutely. It's so healthy. Repressing all of that, whether it's anger, sensuality, love, freedom,
Yeah.
excitement, happiness, expressing all of those things in a healthy way is a form of taking excellent care of yourself. Because it's not
Absolutely.
going anywhere. That's
Absolutely.
the trick.
Right.
It's not going anywhere.
Right.
You can try and ignore it today, but when you
Right.
wake up tomorrow, the need is
still
still going to
there.
be there. That's what
Right.
makes dance and the arts as a self-care art form revolutionary for
Right,
us.
absolutely.
Why Afri salsa?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Well, because the term salsa means sauce, and before there was the term salsa, there was the term Afro-Cuban dance and
Nice.
music.
Yes.
But with the trade embargo, there was a lot that was not brought back into the States from Cuba to New York. And so there's, to make a long historical story short, there was the evolution of this term called salsa. And so you miss the Afro, you miss the lineage, right? But it really was a marketing term. It wasn't to say that one is better than the other. It really was just a means for a way for a community, a Latin community, to express themselves, to market themselves, Fania, all of that. So I decided I wanted to put Africa back in touch with salsa. And depending on where you're from, it's not news. It's not new
Sure,
to know that
sure.
the rhythmic origins of salsa are African, and
Right.
that we all connect on ways that are naturally a part of us. But when I first moved here back in 2000, I had a ball in DC salsa dancing. You couldn't tell me anything. It was just open. It was fun. If I danced in New York, it was the same way. But when I moved to Atlanta, it was so segregated. Man, a sister couldn't get a dance down here. And so I met up with other African Americans, at Tongue and Groove back in the day. And we called ourselves the African American Tongue and Groove Salsa Crew.
Oh my
we made up
gosh.
some names. Because we knew if we were there, we would at least get a dance. And so after a while, I created Afri Salsa. There was the community component. And I just was really tired of convincing someone of something that should have been innate. So it was a marketing term, and then it evolved into a cultural organization. And there are times where I will dance, and they'll say, "Where you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Louisiana." "No, you're Dominican." I'm like, nope, actually. And then one time because I teach, and so one time I was teaching, and this one Latina sister said, "Where are you from? Because you can't be African American. How do you know this? How do you know this?" And I said, "Well, there were a lot of boats."
He's so funny.
She said that.
Yeah, she told her.
There were a lot of boats. And, although those boats landed, little Pan-African education all over the world at different times, not just tied to slavery, right? But we have been dispersed in many ways, voluntarily and involuntarily. But that core of who we are, although it's been transmuted and translated, it's still within us. And so I actually had a great time learning and enjoying dancing salsa, and I don't think anybody owns it. I think that we should just enjoy it. And if
She
you
put
want
the
to think I'm
gospel
something, then that's fine. But I'm going to really live and enjoy myself. And so now it's grown. We used Afri Salsa Socials as a conduit for more African Americans to feel more comfortable
Yes.
with
Right.
learning.
Yes.
I enjoy teaching. I create a very protected space.
Oh, it's
and I
beautiful.
love teaching beginners. And so it's grown. That's why Afri Salsa. It was very much so needed. And to really honor those who are new to dance.
Yes.
There's a culture of professionalizing dance. And of
Right.
course, New York, DC is different. And in 2000, Atlanta did not have as much of a developed dance professional community. But now, making sure that people understand that you didn't go pay somebody $10 to learn the electric slide. Okay? Did you? No. It's okay for you to just learn.
Yeah.
And not put in your mind, I have to do this or I have to do it this way. There's so many different expressions of salsa. There's so many different types of traditional West African dance. There are different types of African dance. There's contemporary African dance.
Right,
There's all
right,
kinds
absolutely.
of dance throughout the world. There are even salsa congresses, all of their conferences, all throughout the world. So it's really okay. Let it unify us. Let it be
Right.
part of your self-care plan. And you'll be fine, boo-boo, if I'm not where you want me to be
Right,
from.
sure.
You'll be okay. You'll be all right. It'll be all right.
You say DC a lot. You went to a HBCU, didn't you?
I would like to say shout out to Well, my dad went to Howard, so I was spoon-fed Howard. How you doing, Howard?
I just want to give you that, just toss you that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Tamara said where she was, where you know.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know, yes, help you out there.
That
They
is
did
too
you
funny.
good.
Well, you know, the Department of Fine Arts at Howard University was just one of the premier locations
Yeah,
for
sure.
just everything phenomenal about who we were as Black people in dance, music, theater. You think about some of the greats that came from there, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, you know, and I'm going to give a shout out to my girl, Lauren Atkins DeVoe, who we were
So
both
awesome.
electrical engineering majors at Howard.
Electrical
And
engineering
she
majors.
was so she was bred in dance. Like
Yes.
her whole upbringing was through dance. Phenomenal ballerina,
Yes.
all kinds. And we danced with Kadiatu Conti and Balafone in DC. That was my first just aggressive introduction into being a professional dancer. And she continued on to be the core headline off Broadway and then on Broadway dancer for Fela,
Yeah.
the musical.
Yeah.
Then she traveled the world, and so that's another Howard product as well.
Oh,
Shout out to my
she's
girl
awesome.
Lauren.
Look at you. Look at you. How do we bridge the gap with the younger generation with dance?
So I love that question,
Yeah,
and
good
it's
question.
it's some of what
Ask good
it's some of what I do on a daily basis, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do that. First of all, just working with young people just kind of keeps you young,
Yeah,
right? It
'cause
just
you look
invigorates
incredible.
you.
Delicious. This doesn't make
delicious.
any
Hey.
sense at all. The skin, the teeth, the whole
Just
thing.
a reflection, my sister. Just a
I
reflection.
got work to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to sign up for a class.
Right. Come on. Well, the beautiful thing is that, you know, our young people are dancing.
Yes.
They are dancing
Hard.
Yes.
hard
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like every time you look around, they have their cell phone out and they are like working it.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like posting videos. So we don't have to get them to dance,
Okay,
right? Because
okay.
they're already dancing. We just have to tell them we have something similar, right, as to what you're doing. And it's been different in the different generations. So you all have this iteration of hip hop. This was my iteration of
Yeah,
hip hop,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's what I tell kids because they ask me, well, Miss Harris, are we going to do hip hop dance? You do all this African dance, and we're going to do hip hop dance? And I say, well, I can teach you some old school hip hop. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have their iteration, right? I have my iteration, which is a beautiful thing because when hip hop was starting off, no one knew that it was going to go this far.
That's correct.
right?
That is correct.
Nobody knew it was going to go this far.
That's correct.
So we have these different iterations of hip hop, which reflect the various iterations of jazz, right? And jazz dance and hip hop dance are similar in that they are those social and vernacular dances
Right.
that eventually became concert and theater performances, which is very much like our traditional African indigenous art forms all around the world. They were performed and danced in the context of the community.
Exactly.
You didn't have to go pay someone
Exactly.
in order to teach you how to do these things. It was just what you did, right? So we have these various iterations of the power of vernacular dance and how it gets translated, right? And how it becomes this powerful tool and vessel and vehicle for communicating with people all over the world, right? So we have numerous examples of what it looks like, right? We see it in salsa dancing. We see it in traditional African dance works. We see it in hip hop. We see it in jazz. And so if we can just humble ourselves
Talk about it.
and be patient enough with the process and say, well, this is what it looks like all over the world. This, what you all are doing, right? This social dance that you all are doing, this is what it looks like all over the world. And that humbling of self allows us to learn some things in the process, right? And if we make it okay to decolonize dance,
Talk about it.
I was looking at a post
Dramatic
by
pause.
my sister. Right, exactly. Melanie George went in talking about decolonizing dance.
Yeah.
Ballet is a beautiful, incredibly beautiful art form.
Yes,
It is. That's
Whether
true.
danced by brown people or not, it's
Right.
beautiful.
Yes, it is. It is.
right?
Yeah.
But we have to be honest about the fact that racism has intersected every aspect of our existence. And we would be foolish not to recognize the way that it has intersected our art and the
Yes.
way that it has, in particular, intersected the art form of dance.
Yeah.
So when we get comfortable with decolonizing, with saying that everything does not have to look like the dances of the aristocracy, right? Everything doesn't have to look like that in order to be deemed like really powerful, in order to be validated. Everything does not have to look like these dances of, the court dances of the European era. So if we can do that, if we can humble ourselves and be patient with the process and share with our young people that this is the way that it looks all over the world.
Yes.
And when you say that you're a dancer, you don't have to wear ballet shoes.
It's okay.
You can be a dancer and look like this.
Look like that.
You can be a dancer and wear some African dance clothes.
That's
you can
true.
be a dancer and wear some sneakers. You can
That's
be a
true.
dancer in your bare feet and in your socks. You can be a dancer in all of those ways. Then that's the bridge.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is the bridge. And we just have to get with them. Find those. What do you all like to do? Oh, you know what? That looks like this dance.
Yeah.
Which looks like that dance.
Okay.
Which was the dance that my mom did.
Okay.
Which was a dance that our ancestors did
Yeah.
when, which is a dance that's still being done in Guinea, right? There are all of these points
Yeah.
and connections
That's
and places
nice.
and ways that we can connect.
I love the way you do that.
We just have
Because
to
I
humble.
was going to ask you, how do you connect those dots? And thank you for that example. Because I think it's important that even though they have their style and their technique and the way they want to express themselves today, I think it's important that they understand the connection.
Sure.
though. That yes, you're moving forward and you're doing things differently now because of the times and how you express and things that you're exposed to, but the connection.
It's a connection.
This rhythm and this movement that you have comes back from
Right.
Yeah.
way
Right.
back. The
Yeah.
way
Right.
you arch your back,
Right.
the way you pop, the way you
Right.
move, the way you break,
Right.
the way you pause came from way,
Way
back.
back. Way back.
You didn't get that off YouTube.
There's
That is
a-
something in you.
There's a documentary produced by Mansell Durden in California. He's a professor at one of the universities there. He has a beautiful documentary that parallels breakdancing and jazz dance, and it is so powerful to see these old images, right? These black and white images of people dancing, and if you put a hip hop beat to it,
That's
it
what it
looks
looks
like
like.
any
Yeah.
dance party that's happening now.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing to see those parallels. And then when you study, then you see that African dance isn't just a bunch of flailing, right?
Right.
It's not just
No.
a bunch of people just going
Throwing
out
their
there
arms
throwing
all
their
over the
arms
place.
around. It's a system
Yeah.
and there's a technique. So, when you look at the characteristics of it, you're able to see and show we share these characteristics. And these characteristics cross like cultural lines and cultural boundaries. It's a really beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, when I went to Johannesburg and then Cape Town last year, I had an opportunity to teach a group of young girls who were survivors of just some horrific things. A self-care through Afro salsa and dance.
Nice.
A workshop when you're dealing with critical self-care and trauma. And this is actually a funny story, believe it or not. With all these heavy things that young people are dealing with, another way to connect to them is to show them how dance can help them work through it and how to be more strategic about using dance in their lives and not just happenstance using
Right.
it. So in this particular workshop, there was a documentary that was released in the early 2000s when I was dancing with Giwa, and we performed to the release of the HBO documentary A Mandala, A Revolution in 4-Part Harmony. It is one of the reasons that I started to take seriously the application of culture and dance as a form of revolution and survival for our people. So in that, you learned about how music and the artists, the South African artists, not only use music but also dance. So
Right.
P.S. fast forward to last year, I traveled for the Global Women's Activism Summit in Johannesburg, and we ended up in Cape Town. And this group of girls had gone through unspeakable things, and they took my workshop. So I had done my research, I watched this documentary, and there was a way that the revolutionary soldiers would work out in the mountains, and they would do these high knees with the song, and it was a way to boost morale, and it evolved into a dance that in my mind I remembered being called the toy, right? Toy, right? So now I'm coming down with my recollection of this dance and my recollection of the name of it. And I sit in front of these beautiful, beautiful, strong South African young girls. And I said, okay, are y'all ready? Do you all know the dance, the toy? And they said, no. They said, the toy. I said, what? I said, are you all South African? They said, yes.
You trying to call folks out.
What?
In their
I said,
house.
are you all South African? They was like, yes. I said, and you don't know the dance, the toy? And they said, no. So I said, you get up, I'm on that love, right? And I start doing it, and they said, oh, the toy. I said it completely
you were just
wrong.
saying it wrong.
Everyone fell out laughing. But what they did understand was the movement.
Right.
And what they understood was, even though we had talked about trauma, we talked about critical self-care.
Sure.
We said, I nourish myself, do my best, say thank you, release the rest, and gave them these really beautiful movements.
Give it again.
to
Give it
us.
again.
I nourish myself, do my best, say thank you, and release the rest. And we teach that as a mantra and a movement that you can incorporate in your life. And they loved it. You should have seen. They were like, and I released the rest. They were killing it. But when I did the toy, right, which I'm now focused on saying correctly, it was another way for them to take what they already were doing, to your point, Tiambra, dances and movements they were already familiar with, connecting them to their own homeland, their own revolutionary history. And they were like, I need to do this. So I told them, I said, do that together once a week. Get together. There's strength in numbers through these dances, and use that as your strategy to feel stronger about every other aspect of your life. So I really do believe that on top of getting them to understand where they are, that you also want to highlight how we have to be more strategic when we dance.
Right, absolutely.
And that's what the spiritual side is.
That
it's
is.
strategic.
That is.
It's like, you know what? I don't want to slap anybody this week.
Right.
So I'm going to have to go to a Giwa class at 3 o'clock on Sundays.
3 o'clock on Sundays, yes.
Shout out.
The plug.
And when I
plug,
get
yes.
there, we're going to do some dance. We might do Dunumba.
Right.
And I might end up kicking his hand out and doing some real strong movements that's going to help to exercise out of me what naturally is there is a natural human response, but that needs to come out in a healthy way.
Right. And modeling that is really, really important. And I tell my students all the time, I take dance classes. I dance outside of here. I don't just dance when I'm teaching you, but I dance because I really want to. Sometimes Anana is like, hey, can you come dance with me? Like literally, can you come dance with me? Okay, where are we meeting up? She's already booked a studio somewhere for us to just go and dance. And I have that experience and that vibration and that connection with other sister groups too, where people can just say, I really want to dance. I created this one thing. I just want to show it to somebody, or I'm feeling blocked in some kind of way. Will you come dance with me? You know? And so my students, my young people, they're middle schoolers, their hormones are all over the place. And they are a part of a community that's literally just been forgotten because of the intersection of racism and economics and capitalism and all of these isms, right? All of these isms. And they come, I may feel like dancing. I may feel excited and happy and thankful for my life. They might not be, right? And so the language that's happening in the educational sector is social emotional learning. Well, we've always been doing social emotional learning. That's that's why we've been dancing and singing and creating jazz music, right? It's because of how it socializes us and how it heals our emotions, right? But okay, there's a terminology for it now.
Okay.
And so we utilize it at my school, and it's helpful, of course, because the concept is helpful, right? And so one of the things that I started to do with my students was to create dances that went with particular feelings. And so I started with the feeling of being hyped, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes they're just over the top hyped. Think about what they're eating every day, right? They're just over the top hyped. But I took it back to my version of movement, and we used Let's Get It Started by MC Hammer. I'm wearing the kids out with Let's Get Started, MC Hammer, and they are having the best time dancing what it feels like to be hyped and excited, right? And they're like, can we do that one? Can we do that one? So then after that one, I decided, okay, well, let's do something also pleasant, right? We don't want to bring the mood down really, really far, but let's dance about feeling good and kind, right? So we use an India Ari song, Kindness is Timeless. So we put some movement to that one. And then we put a few more out. I said, you know, I started off today feeling really frustrated. And this song came to mind. Kendrick Lamar, We Gonna Be All Right. Like no matter what's going on, we still gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. So I created this dance, and I used, you know, some movement cues from there, right? There are versions of or iterations of hip hop, and built on that. So now we have about 5 or 6 social emotional learning dances where they can opt in to dance that, right? So if you're feeling happy, go on in the circle and dance this one. If you're feeling hopeful, go on in the circle and dance this one. If you want to feel happy or if you want to feel hyped, right? So it gives them options. It continues to bridge that gap, and it continues to affirm the purpose and the healing aspect of dance and movement. And then we talk about what they feel like after doing this. And it's similar when people come to our classes on Sundays. I can't honestly say that as a professional dancer, every time I go into a dance space, I don't always want to dance.
I agree.
It's my job. You know what I mean? I've learned to find that place in me where I can dance and it can look like I want to do it. I don't always want to, and neither do all of the men and women and children that show up every single day for our Sunday class. They may not always just want to dance, but they know that after they do, they're gonna feel so much better. It's chemical. Your body chemically releases endorphins and things to make you feel good. Right?
Like
Smile.
working out.
Like working out. Looking into someone's face that's smiling and jamming and getting all into it. It makes you feel good. And so our spaces of healing, our rehearsals, our dance classes, our educational work with young people, our social environments that we go into is healing, and we need it.
It's like working out. You don't, some days you're excited, you're pumped about doing it. Some days you don't want to. It could have been the conditioning that you put into your body the day before, right? And then you feel that aftermath and you say, I don't really feel like going. But you go because you know the end result is you're going to feel better. But it's really what you put into it as well, right? And then the energy and the environment too that helps. But it's the end result. I'm really a big proponent on bridging gaps in any kind of way, whether it's musically, through dance, through the arts, just information, knowledge, because I feel that the environment and the way that kids learn today is so different than how we've learned before. And we have information, we have experience, and I think that I think you're doing a beautiful job, Tambra, and just kind of just constantly connecting. It's almost like a wave, like you show me yours, I show you mine, like we just kind of going back and forth, because they got to kind of understand where it all stems from. I think so. And I think there's some artists today that feels like in different genres or different platforms that feel they don't have to pay any kind of respect or homage to where things originated from. It's what it's about today. But I think in order for it to be genuine, or for you to put your identity to it, you kind of got to know where it came from, so that it can keep going. That's my concern. I just don't want it to end here. I want it to keep going, because it's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. Who influences you from a dance perspective? You went to a school, HBCU, and you threw some names out. You threw out Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, things like that. Were they your influencers? Was it dance theater of Harlem, because you're connected to New York. You said New York and D.C. Was it even Alvin Ailey, who was just here this past week or so?
Couple weeks ago.
Yeah, who was your influencer?
You know, after my mom and seeing a lot of the sisters in the 70s and 80s who were in these very small West African dance troupes and very small Pan-African communities throughout the States, my cousins were an influence.
Okay.
And these church hall dances we would go to in
Yes.
New Rose, Louisiana, where people would literally be working the whole month on a routine. Janet Jackson, Pleasure
Yes.
Principle.
Yes.
I know the entire
I should
video.
have made you do it today.
Listen, just put the chair right there. I will step on that chair.
Yes, Black woman.
Sisters that were doing a really expressive dance. I had to see it. And honestly, the desire to see more of people my complexion in aspects of dance was also a desire. You know, I just didn't see any chocolate people doing salsa on television. And, you know, shout out to people in their 40s. You know, it was black and white TV, and I would see those late ballroom competitions, but I never saw anybody partner dancing.
Right.
But I did see, you know, my elders, my aunties, my uncles killing the game
Yes.
when their favorite song, if the Gap Band came
Yes.
on or whatever.
Ooh.
So really people in my community inspired me.
Okay.
And when I got older, Kariatu Kanti, she was just and still is beautiful and strong. And in my early 20s, she taught me how to find my strength through dance. You know, she challenged me. I think that first month when I was auditioning to be in the dance company with very little professional if not none. I cried after rehearsal every day. I walked home crying every day. There were moves she would do in front of me. This move, right? She would come in front of me. It's looking ugly. It's still looking ugly, and I would be like,
Oh, no.
like, your legs need to get higher, and I would just, you know. But she did not lie. She did not sugarcoat. She did not rub your back, and she made you stronger. But she cooked you great food. She would make sorrel. Like we were wrapped into this experience that made me only want it that way.
Okay.
So that was a dance mentor that really was more about being a community mentor.
Yes, yes.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I've never seen or experienced dance outside of what I got an experience of. And then for salsa, there was this group in DC. I write about it in my book. There's this group called Moro, and there was this group of Dominicans who had this salsa class at Republic Gardens. Shout out to Howard Days in the 90s. Republic Gardens. But while I started doing professional West African dance, I would take the dance class in DC, downtown DC, Kariatu teaching, and then we'd have rehearsal. So from literally 6 to 10 p.m., I'd be doing straight West African dance. Then I would leave there and I would go to the salsa club, which was run by Moro. And I was like, I'm about to get this salsa. So one time I'm dancing and I'm learning and I'm thinking it's what I want to do, which salsa is not. It's really, you relax into the music. The music is really in charge, and then you lead. So this guy takes me, and my body is moving like I know what I'm doing. So he takes me and he just spins me out, and he starts to flip me back in, and I'm like, yay, look at me spin, and my arms are up. No, you don't spin like that. You keep your arms in. It tightens your turn, but it also helps you be mindful of the people around you. I spun so many times with my arms wide open, I took his jaw out. Honey. And this brother, I was like, I'm sorry. He said, I shook her. I shook her. So I really appreciated the mentorship, the support of my early salsa instructors that, you know, were a part of Moro, who allowed me to learn and grow. So it was always communal mentors. They were always people that were just very giving of dance, and they were killing it on the dance floor. Their skill set was like way up here.
Yeah. I want to learn. I want to learn salsa. I play with it.
I got you.
She's a great teacher.
Being from the Bronx and having a lot of friends that were Puerto Rican, and just going to the store was, the the bodega, and then
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
playing salsa, merengue, and
Yeah, bachata.
and Poppy's in the store, and you hear Tito Fuente and Delia Cruz, and it's just every Saturday, and so you
Yes.
feel close to
Yeah.
it. But then you just never really had the training because there was a separation,
Yeah.
a segregation, right? Because if you didn't speak Spanish, you couldn't hang out per se.
But did you know
You
that there
know?
were salsa songs during the civil rights era that were purposefully done in Spanish and English to show a sense of solidarity
That's so
between the
powerful.
communities? So there's so many stories where Black and Latina communities or Latinx communities actually work together
Yeah.
that people don't talk about enough. There's so many stories of what we had to do to make sure that
Yeah.
things got done.
Yeah.
My son's father's family's Panamanian. They look like the rest of us,
Yeah.
Black folk. And what I love is hearing their stories of coming here to the States and people talking to them or speaking Spanish around them and just completely not thinking that they know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there's all these double and triple consciousnesses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which I think
Yeah.
breeds schizophrenia
Yeah.
personally. That is interwoven into dance, music, and culture that you cannot segregate. You can't tease it apart. But the beauty is when you do find the combination. Like when I first was dating my son's father, his family were talking one day, and his grandmother said, "Yes, the African girl." I said, and they were just looked. They said, "No, she's from Louisiana. No, she's African." Have you seen her dance? No, she's from Africa.
I heard
You know,
that.
and so the bottom line is, you couldn't tell her
Right.
anything. It didn't matter. It's like dance and music ends up being shared, but when they see the iterations of who we are as a people, no matter where we are, we're killing the game, and we're still connected to you. We're part of you, part of us. The music connects
That's right.
us.
all the
That's
time.
You can't get rid of me.
No, I'm here.
I
I'm
never want to get
here.
rid of
And
it.
I love teaching couples that are new, you know, or
Yeah.
people that just want to learn.
wanna learn.
Because you see that spark, and I teach you how to continue learning, so you don't need me.
Sure.
And you know what happens? They just go, I got it. They
yeah.
go, that's it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to, there are dance places you can go that are just ballrooms. There's not cigarette smoke and alcohol over the place.
Right.
It's just a ballroom social. And then there are the clubs if you want to go out and have a good time. There are conferences / congresses. I mean, there's so many options with salsa in particular.
Right.
And West African.
Right.
There are
Yeah.
West African dance
Absolutely.
conferences. There
Absolutely.
are workshops all over the place.
I'm gonna get him.
You got
Tambra,
it. Yes.
influencers for you.
Wow. Okay, so my list is long. My list
three.
is long. Top three. Okay, top three. So I have this beautiful connection with the artistic director emerita from Giwayan Mata. I can honestly say that Omelika Kuumba put me in all of these amazing environments in and around Atlanta that really fostered my growth.
Okay.
Right? Like that just either challenged me to grow with learning from different people, or possibly she put me into some hot water that I didn't even know I could function in. Like, okay, well, why don't you go teach that, or why don't you go do it? So I blossomed so much, you know. So she's just definitely just like my sister, friend, teacher, inspirer, encourager in so many ways. It's a beautiful thing. Three? I only get three.
I know.
Well,
That's
do
so
what
okay.
you can.
I'm
Do
going
what you
to,
can.
I'm going to group some
Okay,
together.
okay.
So another group, I have a group of choreographer and director friends
Okay.
around the United States that have dance companies that tour the world, that use African diasporic movement to tell stories and use it in contemporary and traditional dance contexts. So the Abdel Salams and Jawale Zahler and my brother Ron Brown. So those are my choreographer,
Gotcha.
director, you know, inspirers. And then I have my people that I dance with every day. Like literally, I'm watching them and I'm like, I love the way you do that. I love the way you, and like I'll tell Nika all the time, like I love how full
Isn't
your
she full?
body is when you
Yeah.
dance. Like you dance with every single part of who you are. You know what I mean? And then I'm watching Anana like be bilingual, right? Like she will bust out her salsa game, right? And then you think that she's a salsa dancer, but then like the drums come out, and then she's gonna bust out her West African, and then the old school hip hop comes out.
Wait a minute.
Right, exactly. So I'm grateful. Yes, give it to her, girl.
Follow my
So I'm really grateful to say that the people that I dance with, right, that I can look into their eyes, I can physically touch them,
Yes.
I can walk the belt line with you, right? Like these are the people that inspire me on a daily basis. And then we have those like ancestral inspirations, the Pearl Primus, the Catherine Dunham, the Baba Chuck Davis, who did like all of this amazing work with bridging gaps between people and crossing boundaries of segregation and just all of these incredible and inspiring things that they did through movement, right? Studying people all over the world and coming and bringing it back to, people in the United States to create just that one little drop of inspiration that would spread like wildfire, right? Through us now. Who would have thought that, that Dr. Pearl Primus being the first Black modern dancer would begin to translate into what we know now in terms of seeing the numbers of us that are interpretive and contemporary dancers and modern dancers and are creating companies all over the world. Who would have thought that that would happen? And the people that were the foundations of bringing African and indigenous dance to the United States, that now you would have this wildfire of like young people and multi-generations of people YouTubing and you know what I mean and Instagram and the social media and like attending conferences and just to continue to study what someone introduced so long ago. I think about our ancestors who were enslaved here, who were told you cannot do your dances of your homeland. I literally think about that. I think about what they must feel like looking at us. The ones of us that are continuing to perpetuate these cultures and continuing to usher other people. And I know that they're just so happy. I know that's right. Just so happy. So I feel a connection and a place of inspiration from lots of different places, different avenues.
And that's fair, and that's fine. You said that very well.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think anybody's going to be upset with your answer. Yeah, I'm gonna stir up a little controversy just one time.
Okay,
just one time, because me personally, it has bothered me. And I try to be open and all about
I know
it.
what this question is.
Okay.
But there's something in my core that it bothers me. So let me give you an example.
All right.
I wasn't always a runner, but when I was on this quest after my divorce, I wanted to get in shape and I started running. And I started running a lot of 5K races and I joined Black Girls Run. Loved it. Was running all the time with them, and they would go to different cities, at least in Atlanta and then Charlotte. Then over time, I started to see people join the race that didn't look like me. The name of it was called Black Girls Run. Okay. So I felt the way. I was like, can we not have something?
Sure.
Right? Because I think the power in the name was people, we all looked alike, and we're doing this thing running, because typically that isn't something we're looked on for doing long distance running. They look to us to be the FloJos, like hitting it real quick, sprints, that relays, but to run races like 5Ks and 10Ks, that wasn't our thing, and now we got this thing, right? And so now I'm seeing people being a part of our thing that don't look like us, and I was like, okay, all right. I love Alvin Ailey. Love it, love it, love it. Go every year. I go, and then all of a sudden, you do Revelations, right? And there are people in the Revelations dance scene that do not look like me. And I say, can we not? And I felt the way, and I didn't say anything because again, it's the beauty of the dance, and
Right.
and I was like, but when Alvin created this, was that his intent? I don't know. When Judith Jameson was the artistic director, was that her intent? I don't know. Things have changed. Money is needed. Sponsors are different. I don't know. I don't know what the messaging is. But I'm going to ask you dancers, what say you about having people that are not African American joining an African American dance troupe? What say you? Anana. Anana. And if you want to take the fifth, you can. If you say I don't really have an opinion,
I'm not going to
fine.
take the fifth, but I saw something on Tambra's face.
Uh-oh. I know.
It
I
comes
stirred the
up.
pot.
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
saw
Say,
something on her face.
and get
Go
me
ahead,
straight.
Tam.
Maybe I'm not straight.
So there are several things. So,
All right.
so one thing is that we, as a people, we have tended to be probably the most inclusive
Yes.
people on the
Yes,
planet.
and
right?
yes.
And we recognize
I had to look good in the camera on that.
sometimes it feels like it's to our detriment, and
Yes.
sometimes it feels like we're losing something.
Okay.
Right?
Sometimes. Okay.
We are very inclusive, and we use our talents to embrace,
Okay.
right? And we use our talents to heal, because we know that the things that we have are healing. We haven't always protected our spaces,
Right.
right? And we haven't always said, this particular environment is going to be for everyone.
Right.
This environment over here, as much as I love everyone and appreciate
Come on now.
everyone,
Come on, Tamara.
there's a conversation that I want to have
Right.
with people who have not just look like me, because we come in all
That is correct.
sorts of
That is
shades,
correct.
colors, sizes, right? But who walk a similar walk with me,
Yes.
have a similar ancestral memory
Yes.
as me, and who can reflect back to me something.
Come on,
right?
that's
So I want to have this conversation with this group over here, and I completely see the value. As a matter of fact, I want to even spearhead making sure that there is an inclusive environment. So we have some people that do both. We have
Okay.
some people that do one or the
other.
other. I think that the larger concern is not so much the ones of us that usher these various environments in, right? But the fact that I think as a people, we just have not done a good job with educating each other about how critical it is to have sacred spaces.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just critical to have sacred space. And in a time where funding is important, where your sponsors or your stakeholders may desire such and so,
Yeah.
where on paper you need to look like you are
understand.
inclusive. People sometimes get pushed past what maybe was their initial vision, right? In order to stay in alignment. It's unfair that happens to us so many times. I love being in places, and I have been in environments recently where there have been strategic efforts to make sure that circles, affinity groups are formed where people of color have people of color spaces. Period, the end. And there's a language that's being developed around that. There's vocabulary for that. It's important to be able to assign words to that.
Yes.
And not just our feelings. And it's okay for us to feel, but quite often we're just looked at as the angry people who get mad when such and so happens, or get sad when such and so happens.
Right.
So it's important for us to be able to articulate that. The better we are at being able to articulate it and to guard our spaces lovingly, we'll be able to see better results. And there's a reality that everybody wants what we have.
Yes.
Like, we're so fresh. We so fresh. We're so dope. We're so powerful. We're so strong and creative. Like there literally is no limit to how much we can create, right? Like when I look up jazz dancers on the internet, like if I'm on Google, I have to type in black jazz dancers. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I have to type in black jazz dancers. I have to type black first in order to find dancers' videos and images of dancers that look like us. Right? And then I even have to search more in order to find the quality of image that I'm looking for. I say that to say that so much of what we do has been appropriated, and it's beyond unfortunate. It is another iteration of racism and how it has just crossed another line, has intersected us in another way. And it's important for us to be reminded of our power, to be able to say this space is for these people in particular. No shade, no, you know what I mean? No judgment, no love lost. This space is for this. And to also be able to function fluidly in spaces that are also that are inclusive of others.
I like the term sacred space.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Sacred space.
Anything for me?
Yeah, I wanted to throw it to my sister because we were just talking about this literally this morning. We went and took a walk and it came up, the topic. I want to first give a shout out to the Charlotte chapter of the Sister Care Alliance, the president, Jasmine Hines, and then one of our members, Kelly Carboni Woods. They are these fearless black yoga instructors up there that are working on decolonizing yoga. And they created this summit called Amplify Activate Summit. And one of the reasons that the summit exists was not just to bring together people of color, black people, people of African descent, to talk about the impact of just racism and oppression, but also to educate those who are within the yoga community that are not respecting what our critical needs are. And so although Sister Care Alliance promotes self-care as a form of social justice, we also promote social justice as a form of self-care. It's healing to speak up for yourself, and it also is powerful for you to know what you critically need. But as a people, we have been taught to suppress what we critically need, to be embarrassed about what we critically need, so much so that if I say, I just need to be around, to Tampra's point, my sisters who can relate to me and who know that it's difficult, so there's some things I don't have to explain. I critically need that. Again, to your point, which is the core of what self-care is. It's addressing what you critically need and then acting on it, right? When we're able to do that, then we will automatically develop this notion of protecting it. And you also have effectively communicated the level of urgency to those around you who may not be of that group. Now, I will tell you from an organizer's standpoint, in the field of social justice, there is quite a gentrification of social justice going on, right? There is quite an opportunistic approach to ignoring what the critical needs of those who are originally oppressed within social justice experiences and movement work. And there is a standard apathetic approach. There is such a lack of compassion for what breaks us down as a people, let alone black women, that it's standard for someone to say, well, I'm important too. And so I think some of the burden, this is my personal opinion, some of the burden falls upon the leaders, the organizers, the facilitators, the event planners to do what Tambra suggested, which is to designate when there is an opportunity for it to be a healing experience that's focused on A, B, C, or D, that caters to those who need it. If I have had a horrible emergency C-section, and I need to get together with those that have had a horrible emergency C-section, there is an understanding amongst our collective trauma that someone that had a beautiful, blissful vaginal birth at home, you know, they just won't understand.
Beautiful, blissful.
Yeah, beautiful, blissful.
Beautiful, blissful vaginal delivery.
Who's doing that?
I sneezed and the baby came out. I was in labor for 30 minutes.
Who's doing that?
I ate some wonderful fruit afterwards. I got my head rubbed. I had no stitches.
Man.
I 100% have heard beautiful stories,
Yeah.
right? It is not selfish for me to ask for an ointment to address my wounds that are specific to my wounds. It is not selfish. And so when we start looking at self-care as being revolutionary, we'll start to honor the wounds that we still need to treat that take a different type of ointment than what someone else needs. The fact that you are benefiting, I'll say this, I have a lot of good friends who are in recovery, and every year they get their chip, and I show up for those anniversaries, the birthdays, where they're getting their chips, and I'm in recovery X amount of years. It's not easy, one day at a time. And I remember the second time I ever went to a meeting with a friend to support them, I sat there, I was like, this is wonderful. I was like, I have something to share. And so I said, I tugged on my friend, can I share? My friend said, no. Have you ever been addicted to alcohol or drugs?
Yeah,
Has your body
right.
ever been ravaged by narcotics? Have you ever been completely out of control?
Right.
And as much as in my whole body, I really never have been around braver, more courageous. I have not seen such strength when it comes to the internal challenges that people in recovery have exhibited. I was never exposed to that level of strength. I was inspired. I was like, wow, my pain matters. Wow, these things that I've experienced, I want to learn these tools. 12-step what? I'm over here. But you know what they told me? No, you cannot. This does not pertain to you. This is not specific to what you've experienced.
Come on.
And you have to respect it if you're going to stay here.
Come on now.
And because I did have respect, and because I love the strength of not just my friends, but everybody that walked in and got the white chip the first day, and they made it there, I had to learn how to be a respectful supporter, an educated supporter, a respectful bystander. So when someone cannot have the compassion for what it takes for you to say, my hair isn't ugly, my skin isn't ugly, these curves are not ugly, I'm not supposed to look like you, I'm not supposed to act like you. When drums start playing, there's nothing wrong with me wanting to kind of let it out a little bit, if not a lot. You know what it takes for me to have to continue to grow in this society and be talked over, ignored, assumed that I'm not intelligent enough to change a tire, or intelligent enough to have this discussion in a meeting, and you look me in the eye. You know, if you have not had that experience, there are several non-people of color, non-Black people, non-people of African descent that have the utmost respect for the fact that we have this challenge, and they want to help protect the time so that when we do get together, to your point, we can build. So that is the only analogy that I can offer, because what someone who is in recovery, either from alcohol or narcotics, needs will never change. It doesn't matter how much I want to hang out and do the same things that it'll never change. Tomorrow it'll be the same critical need. You'll need the same self-care activity, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to participate in every part of their journey.
Say that.
Nor will my participation be helpful
Say that.
in their part. So it is very selfish of those to see someone who has been wounded generationally and want to take some of the ointment that we are creating for ourselves and take from that 100% so that we only get 50%. So then we are not going to be able to fully heal, because you have now siphoned off some of the ointment that we need to heal. So that's I mean, there are several people who have not suffered as I have. That are like, get what you need, Anana. Is it what do you need? I'm here for you, because they have compassion for who I am in my specific journey, and it just so happens that a portion of my journey includes me being a Black woman, and for that they're supportive.
Man,
That's one thing.
yeah. Can we drop the mic now?
Okay, and mic drop. Mic blows up.
Word up, all the way up. There's just so much there. We can come back and do another show on that. And I think of microaggressions and things, just what we deal with just at work and the things that's said. And I'm not even going to go down that lane. But thank you both for your responses on that. That helps me because I think it is a sacred space and it's about timing.
Let me say, and if you fail to get the sacred space for yourself, you end up with less tolerance for those who don't understand how important it is. The reason I can have conversations about it, the reason I can facilitate groups, the reason I can interject myself and do what someone has done for me is because I'm working my self-care plan.
Right.
And part of the problem is we have been taught to negate ourselves so much as Black women that we have zero tolerance. We have a zero tolerance policy, like in the workplace,
That's true.
for others, and that's because we're operating on E.
Yeah.
So I would just encourage those of us who know we not are into coalition building, who are not into, the multicultural scene, then don't do it on E,
Right.
and
Right.
just don't be selected as a representative
Right.
to do that.
Right.
Also, go continue to take good care of yourself, and those who choose to do that, tell them to live long and prosper. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, but just recognize when your critical needs are on E,
Right.
then you probably shouldn't be the spokesperson
No,
for
no, don't do that.
No.
Get somebody else. Get somebody else.
No. Point well taken. Duly noted. All right. Last one I want to ask is how can we encourage others to support our artistic culture? How can we?
So there are lots of ways to support, right? Sometimes support looks like, sending a donation on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. Sometimes support looks like before the event, you find out what that organization needs. If they need someone to be a door monitor or to help bring equipment in, you sign up for that.
Okay.
If that support looks like sharing someone's social media posts, like continuously, like
Right.
I am here to share your post and to use my platform as a platform for you.
Right.
And it's going to look different for different people. I would say, definitely we have to acknowledge the power of the arts and how critical it is to our self-care, to our community care, to the care of our families.
Right.
Once we acknowledge that and are able to prioritize it, I think that people are much more willing to contribute in a particular way.
Yeah.
And then we also have to start with our children. We have to educate them in ways that allow them to appreciate organization building, that allow them to appreciate what different aspects and attributes are offered to different spaces in order to make them flow and function well. And once educated in that way, you really never stop.
Yeah.
Once you know what it takes to build a dance company, you have an appreciation. And you're like, okay, what do you need? So when you get that GoFundMe message, you're like, oh, y'all need costumes. If all I have is $10, I'm about to share it with you. I'm gonna make a donation. If you know a child that is learning or growing in a particular area and they ask you to contribute to a fundraiser, that's planting an amazing seed. That's just gonna have just continuous, benefits and continuous harvests. So I would say contribute financially, contribute with your presence, be a listening ear. You might just be a thought partner for someone.
Thought part.
They might just need to toss some ideas around to you. They might just need your advice. They might want to consult with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes organizations can't afford to pay consultants.
Yeah.
But they need the advice in
Right.
order to propel them to the next level.
Yeah.
Could you donate your time for an hour, an
Yeah.
hour a quarter,
Yeah.
of the year in order to sit with this organization or this director and talk to them? So there are ways to do it that are conventional and non-conventional.
Makes sense.
And the more we have an understanding of how important these things are to our daily lives, we look around every day and we see art. and we see culture, and we see context, and we see storytelling, but we don't always acknowledge it as such.
That's true. That's true.
And without those things in our society, it would just be really bland
Yeah.
and really boring.
Boring.
Boring. Yeah,
Bland.
boring. So
No
just
spice.
prioritizing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anana.
reminding.
I mean, I don't even know what else to add after that because I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
I'll give examples of
Okay.
the power of the arts when it intersects with social justice world. It's hands down one of the most powerful vehicles. I mean, you look at the Hugh Masekela's,
Yes.
the Miriam Makibas. You look at the artists that were exiled because their art was looked at as inciting revolutionary
Right.
behavior. I mean, there is no other way to translate it other than, wow, the arts needs to be something that I'm involved in. Now, if you have an artistic organization that also has a social justice component, either to the creative works that they're doing, which is typically it. There's typically some type of a message around change and growth. Those are the organizations you want to support. You want to support those who are staying close to what the critical needs of the community are, and then also those who are wanting to reach out to you and continue to communicate to your community, so you don't have to hunt them down, or they're not in other communities doing things. They're giving back to the communities that are in need and that you're familiar with. So while you recognize, to Tambra's point, the power of all these different forms of the arts, also understand that they are effecting change in the world. That
That's true.
it's literally, it's making things better when you are incorporating the power of, you get the TIs, you look at a lot of these, younger artists that are really infusing themselves more. You look at even Tyler Perry, who put up, this money. He put up money to find, a culprit. I mean, there's so many avenues that the arts are just affecting how we learn and how we're educated about what changes need to happen. So I just wanted to add that I think that is super, super important.
Tambra, upcoming projects, where people can find you.
Sure.
Good stuff. Tell us.
So, Anana and I.
A drum roll.
UI and Mata and Sister Care Alliance are like this. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We were walking our walk this morning. This morning, I have on workout clothes right now. Yeah, we both have on workout clothes because we literally just came off of the trail, walking on the Atlanta Beltline. So we were walking our journey that we're going to be taking during Black Women Walking, which happens next Sunday, March 10th at 10 a.m.
March 10th.
It's going to be so amazing because this is like critical self-care, like wrapped in the beauty love of Atlanta's streets.
My mouth is open.
It's just going to be so juicy. Yes. So we are walking, we are talking, and we are loving. We're bringing it all together, right? So we are gathering women who care about or who are making self-care moves and are also making social justice moves. Like, we're not separating them. And that's one of the things that I love about Anana. Like, she is so clear that this is all connected. I'm not separating any of it. It's all connected, right? So that's March 10th at 10 a.m.
Oh, I want to come.
on the Atlanta Beltline. You should come. Yes. Yes. So we're meeting at the skate park, the historic 4th Ward skate park at 10 a.m. Children can come. And at this point, we primarily need volunteers to really just support the women who have already signed up. So we have just so beautifully sold out. It's so nice. It's so nice.
But volunteers are needed.
Welcome
Welcome.
support. And we're putting out a special call to our brothers who love Black women. We need y'all to be there
next Sunday.
Yeah, so bring some cases of water, bring some bananas, some oranges. Bring your love and your support. Bring a sign to hold up. Just be there. So just support. So that's something that we're doing in order to kick off what is Giwa and Matsu's 26th year. Kicking off our 26th 26th year.
You can't have us here without that.
Oh my
26 years. And so during the same month, so at the end of the month, during the weekend of March 28, 29, and 30, 29, 30, and 31, March 29th, 30th, and 31st, we are going to be doing Woman 26.
To celebrate the 26th
Woman
year.
26 to celebrate our 26th year, and we are hosting some beautiful drum classes, drum and dance classes. Girl, you can dance and drum at the same time in this class. So we have Mama Omelika Kuumba, who is our artistic director emerita, who's teaching a djembe class. We're bringing in Sister Io Alston from Chicago of Io Deli Dance and Drum, and she's teaching a dune dance class where you are literally drumming with sticks and dancing at the same time. Choreographed drumming. Yeah. So we have that on Friday night. We have it on Saturday evening. And then on Sunday, we are doing a big collabo mashup of our Giwayan Mata teachers who are going to be tag teaming at our normal Sunday class. And we're extending it by a half an hour just because we're trying to put so much into it. So that'll be from 3 to 5. So you can follow us on our social media. Is really the best way to find out what Giwayan Mata is doing. And Giwayan Mata is spelled GIWAYENMATA. So you can go to giwayanmata.org. You can also follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. And you can get up-to-date information about what Giwayan Mata is doing to celebrate our 26 years. Our theme for this year is Woman to Woman. So literally what we are doing right now is completely and totally in alignment with what Giwayan Mata is doing. So with that Woman to Woman theme this year, we are looking to intentionally and strategically align ourselves with organizations, with women's organizations and organizations for women that are already doing the kind of work that we're doing in order to uplift ourselves and uplift our community. And that's why the work with Sister Care Alliance is so critically important. So this Black Women Walking next Sunday is the first of 4 that will happen during this calendar year.
Nice. And we come out of Black History Month and we go into Women's Month.
Yes.
Like, powerful.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Oh, the timing of this show.
Great timing. Great timing.
Give all praise to the Most High. Thank you. Anana, do you have anything else?
Well, I will add for our walk participants, we'll be teaching at different checkpoints critical self-care strategies. And so this is a unique walk that we launched last year, and there were strategic self-care walk consultations that I would do, but this is a collaborative walk that we work together with Giwayan Mata on to really shape the importance of how to be strategic about our self-care activities when we're not around each other, how to be strategic about finding someone to walk with, how to be strategic about understanding what a self-care baby step is, how to identify what you critically need, and then getting the energy of your sisters to be able to strengthen you to get it done. So that's important. And at the end of the walk, I mean, we have attorneys, nurses, we have organizations that help find housing that are attending. The beauty about it is we all are going to be supporting each other. Then at the end of the walk, we'll be making social justice-based announcements on resources and just kind of current events that are important. And then we're going to go and have brunch for those who want to join us afterwards. And that's open to whomever would like to. So if you end up at the skate park, you don't want to put a time limit on it, but the walk activities start at 10. And we're going to trail it and have our activities. And then at the end, we're going to walk on over to Krog Street and we're going to get something to eat. So you're welcome to join us. But for Sister Care Alliance, we're going to be launching our self-care support groups.
Nice.
Which is a continuation of teaching the self-care programming and planning. We have a self-care rehab coming up, which is rehabilitation around how you think about your own critical self-care, how you come up with a self-care plan for you. And it's uninterrupted time.
That's beautiful.
Uninterrupted time with guidance.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have a symposium that we're launching this year around self-care and social justice.
Gotcha.
And that is to be able to have a more involved conversation. A lot of times we don't want to get involved in social justice work because we don't know how to take care of ourselves in the midst of that trauma and that challenge. Because literally we have social justice experiences every day because we can't take off being Black and we can't take off being a woman. So it's kind of like, you want me to do more, sis? And I don't think so. But what we want to do at Sister Care Alliance is house a way similar to the Amplify Activate Summit for our Charlotte chapter, is really talk about a way and strengthen how we strategically protect our sacred spaces, reinforce our own tools when dealing with racism, sexism, and oppression, and then also how do we better integrate it into our lives so it's not this staccato experience. It's like, I feel good today, I feel like crap today. I almost cussed on your show. It's good.
You were that close.
You could have got
it. Embarrassed me.
You know, it's unhealthy. It's unhealthy for us to be up and to be down, but then to have this constant experience of being negated on a regular basis. The goal of the symposium is to get us to be more strategic, collaborative, and supportive around each other.
How can people find you?
SisterCareAlliance.org, and then on social media, Sister Care Alliance. You can @ Sister Care Alliance, and then Anana, ANANAH, Paris, PARRIS. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, Self-Care Agency. Self-Care Agency. I want to give a shout out because I know we're talking about sisters, but I want to give a special shout out to the brothers who support sisters. A lot of times they go unacknowledged. And I know with the Self-Care Agency, we have these wonderful brothers that are not only trained on the self-care program and they teach themselves, but they also are 100% supportive, just like with Giwa and Mata. They're these team of brothers that understand what we go through. They respect the history of the Black woman, not just in this country, but globally and beyond this just the establishment of the states. And so I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you, brothers.
We want to say thank you. We appreciate you. We need you. And we love you. And so those who can come on March 10th, we appreciate you. Shout out to Dr. Brian McGregor. He just finished teaching the self-care program to the Department of Psychiatry at Morehouse School of Medicine. Brother Sunjata, he is trained on the program. So just thank you, brothers. Thank you for thinking about us. We love you.
Real men love real chicks. Thank you guys for supporting Self-Care Alliance. This is my time. Right.
This was good.
Wasn't it good?
Really good.
You know, I would be listening to this like, that's
really
right,
good.
This was very, very informative.
Very
this was it was very therapeutic. It was all about dance, and who would have thought? But I knew these two stars. I can't. It's too bright in here. I need shades. It's too. Ooh, wait till you see it on the video. Yeah, you guys look incredible. I want to do a couple of different things before you guys get at me. You know me. I'm everywhere. But there's some important collaborations and things that I want to share with you guys. Please, please, please. Last year I had an opportunity. Real Chicks Rock partnered with Teen Girls Empowerment. Last year was very successful, and so they're doing it again this year. So please be a part of the 2019 Teen Girls Empowerment Workshop Series, which is a series that aims to motivate, inspire, and empower teen girls in the community. Right.
Wonderful.
Teen girls, right. So let's not wait till they're old like me to get them right. Get them young and right. Teen girls, they need it. So they're hosting an interactive workshop, Topic, the relationship hour, teen dating.
Oh,
please.
Let's talk
about it. That's the title. Let's talk about it. An opportunity to hear and discuss healthy dating. Presented by Monica Thornton. We love Monica Thornton, founder of Powerful Beginnings, on Saturday, March 30th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We invite you to register your daughter, your niece, your friends. The ages are from 13 to 18. Very good ages there for teenagery things. So please, please, limited. Seats are limited, so get at them, So this event is free. Yes. So make sure you register before tickets sell out. Tickets are available at Eventbrite. It is Teen Girls Empowerment, the TGE
2019.
To 2019 on Eventbrite. Please go ahead and register and be a part of that. Me, like I said at the beginning, she's smiling because she was an honoree last year. This year, Saturday, April 20th, we are having our second annual RCR Awards Luncheon, right?
Yes. Beautiful.
Yes, where we
Beautiful.
honor women that have been doing phenomenal things in the community. That is my self-care. What is your self-care, Michelle? Giving back to women that have been doing phenomenal things in the community. Yes, Ashe. So this year's nominees are LaTanya Moore, Tamiko Lowry Pugh, and Nikki Poche. So please, please, please go ahead. The tickets, the event is on Eventbrite. Please get those tickets because they're moving. We got a couple of vendors. The food will be excellent. It's on Saturday, April 20th. It's from 11 a.m. Doors open at 11. It'll be from 11 to 1. It's a great way to spend your Easter weekend. I know it's Easter weekend. I know some people will be going to church on Sunday, but for the Saturday, we can come together and celebrate the women that have done big things in the community. Former honorees are always welcome to come. We want our formers to come. We want all of our guests that have been on the show to come. So please, 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 we want you guys to pack out the place. It's very good. I can't put it to words, but it changes the vibration, right?
And let me say, having been there, the energy is not stuffy. It's not repressed.
No.
It's not hierarchical.
No.
It's such a loving, open, bonding, and educational experience.
Yes,
it's definitely something that you want to invite co-workers, friends.
Yes.
It's a wonderful networking opportunity.
Yes.
I definitely connected on another level with people I would have never met had it not been for Michelle. So. Yeah, and people don't realize that she's not an event planner. When you want to make an impact on your community, you're a community organizer. And so this event is just as much an act of social justice as anything else. And so I just want to make sure everyone's clear that when you buy a ticket, when you sponsor a ticket, when you become a sponsor in other ways, that you are helping to improve our community by participating. It's not a fluff event. So let me just put that stamp on there just so everybody's clear about that.
I appreciate that. I think it's important that we recognize our own. While we're here, get these flowers now and not while we're in the box. If you're doing things to empower women, we need to note that.
Right.
You need to get that now. And so there's so many more women. As long as God gives me breath in my body, I'll get to you. This is our second year, so we just want to continue to make it grow and grow and grow. It'll be at the Philip Rush Center. They take good care of me there. So help support us so as we support those that continue to give and be an outpouring to women.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah, and the men are welcome to come too. Husbands, brothers, uncles.
Support.
You come on too because we're just as good because you guys support us. And so there's a lot of men that support Real Chicks Rock, and I wouldn't be here without that. One last thing. Because I love music and all that there. So one of my strategic partners is Hot Ice Entertainment. Hi, Hot Ice Entertainment. Yes. And so with that, so we have a bunch of shows coming at Venkman's. Right. Yeah, so I'm very excited. So I'm going to give it to you one at a time. Each month I'll give you another one. But for March, we're in the lovely month of March. So for March, we have March 25th, we'll have a Chaka Khan birthday tribute by Philippia Williams. Yes, that's on Saturday, March 23rd. 9:30. Doors open before then, so come in, get something to eat, have something to drink, but come in. But the show will be from 9:30 to 11. We want to see you in the place. Those tickets are online at venkmans.com, so feel free to go and get those. Those are all my announcements and things for today.
All your announcements and things?
Yeah.
What a wonderful show. You are a lovely host.
Thank you. I'm doing better. I love this. This is my self-care.
You are doing
Twice a month I come
great.
here, we empower, we inform, and we so this is great. I want to thank my guests. You ladies were beautiful. You feel this energy. You wish you were me. You can touch them. These things are something serious. My whole life changed because they was talking about me today. Thank you so much for your time. Go out and subscribe, like, share, post, repost.
Yes.
Help us create the energy higher, vibrate higher. We like sensationalism so much, but when it's something good, we sit on it, we don't share. Share this.
Yeah.
You thought about dance. Now you know you have a totally different perspective about it. Just share because it was just a good conversation today. It was a good discussion. What a way to spend a Sunday, right? I thank you in advance. I am Michelle Dosberg. This is Real Chicks Rock. You guys take care and continue to rock on.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.